Alright, welcome to the question segment. Let's look at the question. Solve the equations A, sine theta is equal to cos 35 degree and B, sine alpha is equal to cos 3 alpha. Okay, let's look at the solution. In the first one, we have that sine theta is equal to cos 35 degrees. So I will advise my student to always make that equation 1. Recall the 3 identities I gave to you in the last video before we went on a short break. Which identity is corresponding to this equation 1? That is identity 1. And I recall the identity 1 that says that sine theta is equal to cos 90 degrees minus theta. I can call this equation 2. Okay, now, when looking at equation 1 and 2, you look at sine theta in equation 1 and sine theta in equation 2 are the common terms in both equations. So that means you can easily say equate equation 1 and 2. Or if you don't want to talk much, you can say equation 1 is equal to equation 2. This mathematical term we understand. Alright, so now, pick cos 35 degree in equation 1, which is the same thing as sine theta, and replace sine theta in equation 2. If you do that, you're going to have cos 35 degree is equal to cos 90 degrees minus theta. Okay, so with this now, we can easily say cos can take away cos, and you end up having 35 degrees is equal to 90 degrees minus theta. In this equation, take note, the target is to look for the value of theta. So at this point, theta will be made the subject of the equation by saying 90 degrees minus 35 degrees. When a positive sign crosses the equal sign to the other side, it will tend to negative side. If the negative sign crosses, it will tend to positive sign. Okay, so this minus this, that gives you 55 degrees. That means theta is equal to 55 degrees. So for question number 1, if you add 55 to 35, automatically you will have 90 degrees to prove the complementary angle. If you also say, if I use 55 and put in place of theta here and say sine 55, now I also say cos 35, you realize that they will be the same. So that also proves the complementary angle. Okay, so you want to look at the B part. Now, I'm going to take away solution A so that I can solve for B. Okay, let us solve for B now. For B, sine alpha is equal to cos 3 alpha. I can still call this equation 1, and I recall the same identity because the same identity is corresponding to this equation 1. So now, sine alpha, I'm going to use alpha this time around, is equal to cos into 90 degrees minus alpha. I call this equation 2. The same procedure, I will equate equation 1. We'll say equation 1 is equal to equation 2. Why am I saying that? Because they are in equation 1 and 2 have the same terms, which I can easily equate. That is sine alpha. So therefore, I will say that cos 3 alpha in place of sine alpha in equation 2 is equal to cos 90 degrees minus alpha. So at this point now, cos will take away cos. Then I end up having 3 alpha is equal to 90 degrees minus alpha. So at this point, you are looking for alpha. So what do? Try to make alpha the subject of equation. By so doing, you add alpha to both sides. If you do that, you're going to have 3 alpha plus alpha is equal to 90 degrees. Okay, with this. So now, 3 alpha plus alpha gives us 4 alpha, and which is equal to 90 degrees. So with this, we can comfortably say that alpha, we divide through by 4, or we divide both sides by 4, the coefficient of alpha is equal to 90 degrees divided by 4. and which gives us 22.5 degrees. 22.5 degrees. That means alpha is equal to this. If I pick 22.5 degree and substitute here, then I say sine 22.5 degree. Then I also use 22.5 degree and put here 3 times that. Then I find the cos of that. It will be equal to sine 22.5 degree. That at the same time proves a complementary angle. Okay. So I want to advise you to keep watching my YouTube channel and subscribe to it. That I can assure you, I will teach trigonometric ratio from the beginning to the end. And take note, it doesn't stop here. There's a part called trigonometric identities, which I shall also teach. God bless you. Keep watching my video. If you have any question, you have any comment, please endeavor to always comment on it. I can assure you I will respond to it. God bless all of you.